All right, so welcome to the ASSISTments workshop for building personalized content on ASSISTments. I am recording this. It will be shared with you after the workshop today, along with the slide decks that I'm sharing with you right now. So everything we're talking about, you will have in your email. All right, so the goal of today is that the participants for this workshop will be able to create and modify content on the ASSISTments platform. Our agenda for this 45-minute workshop is we're first going to talk about the differences between ASSISTments 1.0 and 2.0 and how they interact together. We'll talk about how to build your own content from scratch, how to edit an existing content that you see on ASSISTments, and then we'll finish up with just some building tips. Some etiquette for webinars. For Zoom, please keep your microphone off. You can choose to leave your video on or put it off. That's up to you. And if you haven't found the chat yet, it's at the bottom of the screen, the little dialog box. And please go ahead and pose any questions that you have right into the box. I will stop for questions, and the chat moderator will bring those to my attention. So just some quick introductions. My name is Dawn Peterson. I'm a teacher engagement manager at the ASSISTments Foundation. I am also a former math teacher and ASSISTments user. I used ASSISTments for 10 years in my 8th grade classroom here in Massachusetts. And I was an extreme builder. I built all my own content. I didn't want to use the curriculum that was recommended to me. So I hope that I can share that information with you today. And our chat moderator is Christina Heffernan, who is one of the co-founders of ASSISTments. So I'm not sure who a better builder is, whether it's Christina or myself, but you have a couple experts here in the field of building content. So let's get started by talking about the differences between ASSISTments 1.0 and 2.0 and how they work together. So ASSISTments has been around since 2003. Correct me if I'm wrong, Christina. We've been using ASSISTments 1.0 for a very long time. It's the original platform. It is standalone. It does not connect to Google Classroom. It contains our builder, which allows teachers to go in and author their own content and also merge and edit existing problems in ASSISTments. And it requires an account for both the students and the teachers. A little bit back, we came up with ASSISTments 2.0, which is a new and improved platform. It connects directly to Google Classroom. There is no separate login necessary. Students and teachers both log in directly with their Google ID. And there will be a building feature available, XXX. We are not sure. We don't have a release date for that yet. But a builder for ASSISTments 2.0 will be coming. So right now, if you are interested in using our builder, you do have to access ASSISTments 1.0, but you can still assign through our new platform, ASSISTments 2.0, and that'll go right into Google Classroom. So we understand that this is kind of complicated to understand for right now. So just to put it in kind of plain terms, if you're assigning with Google Classroom, you live in the 2.0 world, and I'll be showing you what these two platforms look like. The only reason you would need to access our older platform is to use the builder at this point. So hopefully everyone had a chance to follow the directions in my email to create a 1.0 account. If you haven't, at some point before you start your building, you should go to www.assistments.org. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner, still using 1.0. That will prompt you to create a new account, and that will walk you through some different account creation steps. You'll input your name, your email address, what school you teach at, etc. And you're definitely going to want to write that login and password down, as it may be different from your Google login and password. All right, so once you have your ASSISTments 1.0 account, First, we're going to talk about building from scratch. So I'm actually going to go live right into ASSISTments 1.0. I'm going to walk you through the steps of building your own content, and then we'll go back to the slides and just talk about it one more time. Again, we're going to talk about building, we're going to talk about editing. So step one is what you're going to do if you do want to build your own problems from scratch. So the quick steps are you'll access our builder. You'll create a problem set, whatever those questions may be that you want to present to your students. You have the opportunity to set preferences, and then you'll assign to 2.0. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Once you log into ASSISTments 1.0, you're going to click on the Builder tab. This is where you're going to live. This is where all your editing and building capabilities are going to be. And you're going to select create a problem set. When you click on create a problem set, you have the option to build your own problems. So why would you want to go here? Maybe you have 5 questions in your head or on a worksheet that you once created that you want to digitize and push out to students. So you're going to select a title for this assignment. Maybe I'll make this simple for my students and call this Wednesday homework. This is how this is where the builder content goes. So anything that you want in the question, you're going to put in this box right here. So I'm going to make question number 1 something very easy. Simplify 5 plus 5. This is exactly what the students are going to see when they look at the student experience. I just want to note here that you have some options up here. You can change the font, bold, underline, center. You have a lot of choices here that you would see on some kind of word pad. You also have the option to insert a link. So if there was something that you wanted students to get to prior to the assignment, you could insert a link, insert an image, which I'll show you in just a minute, or insert a video, which might be a nice way to introduce a topic. Student has to watch a video and then they'd complete their assignment. Once I finish my question, I'm going to go over here to the right and put in the correct answer. I hope I got that right. Make sure the correct answer is checked as correct. And then we're going to choose an answer type. If you cover over the question marks next to answer type or click, that'll give you a little a summary of what that answer type means. Just to go over a couple real quick, if something's set as number, anything equivalent to that number will also be accepted. So if a student put 10 minus 1, for example, or 10.0, not 10 minus 1, but if a student put 10.0 or 10 over 1 as a fraction, that will still be marked correct. Exact fraction is just that. A student has to put in the exact fraction to be marked correct. Algebraic expression is very commonly used. Will allow the student to type in some kind of algebraic expression. The order does not matter. As long as it's equivalent, it will be marked as correct. And we'll talk about a few more of these as we go. But again, you can click on the question mark to get a summary of what that answer type is. So I'm done with question number 1. I'm just going to cruise down here. Question number 2, maybe I'll have another simplify question. Maybe 2x plus 3x. And again, you have some different options here. Maybe you want to bold that. Maybe you want to highlight it. If something was of important, something I want the students to notice, I might highlight it. And then over here, that answer would be 5x, and I'm going to mark that as algebraic expression. We can put 5 questions in at a time just because this is not automatically saving as we go, and we don't want you to accidentally refresh and lose your work. So I'm going to put just a couple more questions in. Calculate the area, and I want them to see a picture here. So I'm going to click on Insert Image, and I've saved a picture here that I want to upload. Let's see, rectangle picture, I think I called it. So the students will see this image in the question. So I'll just minimize that a little bit. I'm also going to include a little bit of language here. I don't want them to put centimeters in their answer because this is a number answer type. So I'm just going to write, don't put the units, square centimeters, in the answer box, just so they don't have any issues when they're typing their answer in. All right, and the answer there, I'm so fabulous. I just did that in my head. And then I'll just put one more just to show you the multiple choice type. What shape is this? And maybe I'll insert that same picture. Let's see, rectangle picture. And if I want to make that a multiple choice, I'm going to choose the multiple choice setting over on the right. I have some options. Do I want them to show in order that I put them in? I can also randomize them if I always want to put the correct answer first. So I'm going to actually randomize them because I like it that the correct answer is up top. Triangle, notice it's not checked off, and circle. All right, so I just want to make sure I call this question number 4. There we go. Oh, excuse me. There we go. And I don't have a question 5 I want to create right now, so I'm going to go ahead and press create. And I'll be brought to this screen here. So I've created the problems that I like. This is where I get to start making some choices. Up at the top, if we want to edit the name at this point, we certainly can. I want you to note that this problem set has a unique ID. PS stands for problem set. So I've created this problem set that is unique to me that has these 4 questions inside of it. I can choose to present these to students in random order or linear order. Probably since I numbered them, I want to give them in linear order. I can change from tutor mode to test mode. Tutor mode is automatically set. What that means is it's going to give students corrective feedback as they go. If you've been using ASSISTments 2.0, students have been getting this all along. Test mode is if you'd want to give a summative assessment where the students are not getting feedback, they can't press show answer, and they don't have multiple tries. So if you were giving an end of unit assessment, a quiz, something like that, you might want to set this into test mode. So I have that done. And now I'm going to go back to my Builder tab. And now I want to actually assign this to students. So I've created it. Now I want to assign it. So we're going to assign this through ASSISTments 2.0. So let's go ahead and go to the ASSISTments website. I'm going to log in. Let me zoom in a little bit. And if you haven't done that before, or you're just getting started, you'll be prompted to log in with your Google ID. And of course, mine isn't in there right now. There we go. Of course, I didn't auto-save. Sorry about this, guys. And here we go. Up in the upper right-hand corner, we see this problem set ID box. So to assign through Google Classroom, you're going to take that problem set ID from ASSISTments 1.0 under problem sets I've built. You're going to put that in the problem set ID box and view. Oh, and that shouldn't be happening. Let me go ahead and try that again. So I'm going to take that problem set, bring it over here. Oh, and I think for some reason I'm not logged in. Let me go ahead and try this over here. I was in an incognito screen. All right, here we go. And view, and there it is. So there are the 4 questions that I wrote. I can assign those right here to Google Classroom. If you've already assigned, you know how this process works. If you're new, the minute you sign in, you're going to be presented with the classes from your Google Classroom. You can click Next. You can assign, change the assignment name, set a release date and a due date. And as soon as you press Assign, that's going to push that assignment right out to Google Classroom. And you can view right here. There we go. It always takes a little longer when we're doing a workshop. So there we go, right up here, Wednesday homework. So the students will have immediate access to that assignment. So I'm just going to pop back for 1 minute and just talk about those steps again, and then we'll pause and see if there's any questions that I can answer. So again, the Builder tab is where you're going to live when you're in ASSISTments 1.0. Anything that you create is going to exist under the problem sets that I've built box. You're going to see a lot of ID numbers in here. So I just want you to note that if an ID number starts with PS, that indicates that's a problem set. And if a ID number starts with PR, that means that that's an individual problem ID. So again, once you get into the builder, you're going to choose build your own problems. You'll have the option to put in your questions, select the correct answer type, choose the correct answer, of course, and down at the bottom, you're going to create. You have the option to change the name of the assignment. Again, you can change this out of linear order, but that's how it will automatically assign. It'll be in tutor mode unless you change it to test mode. And you do have the option at this point to add new problems if you want to make this a 10-question set. We only give you 5 at a time for the reason I said, so you don't accidentally refresh your screen and lose all of the problems that you've created. You're going to go ahead and set your preferences, and at this point you can test drive the assignment to see what it looks like from the student view. You can view all the problems that are in the set, and just once again you have a unique problem set or PS ID that you're going to carry over to assign to Google Classroom. So I'm going to stop right there and see if there's anything I can answer from the group right now before we go on.
Yes, there was a couple questions, and then I'll see if anyone wants to unmute. And,
Sure.
But the first one, someone was asking about the skill builder section. Like, what is a skill builder, and should you select that?
You should not select that. So the skill builders, if you've, let me just get back to my teacher screen here. So a skill builder is a problem set that we have in ASSISTments 2.0 that randomly generates questions for students from a problem set, and the students have to get 3 in a row correct in order to show mastery. And actually, I'll just show you where that is on our ASSISTments 2.0 screen. But the reason why I'm suggesting that you not do that is because our skill builder sets have lots and lots of questions in them, from 50 to 100 questions. Since these are randomly given to students, it makes sense that we have so many in that problem set. But if you're designing a problem set with just 5 or 10 questions, it may be really difficult for some students to achieve that 3 in a row in that small number. So we have that option. It's more of an advanced option. So if that's something you're looking to pursue down the line, definitely get in touch with us. But for a beginner builder, I would definitely not recommend that.
And the other question was about using mixing and matching with already created, but I know that's coming up.
I am getting to that. I sure will.
Does anyone else have any clarifying questions they want to just unmute real quick and ask, or should we just, it's up to you.
Yeah, all right, so I will move on. We got a lot to talk about and not that much time. So the next section is going to be building your own problem sets. And this is a request we've gotten from a lot of teachers. If you want to pull questions from different problem sets and merge them into one, so you don't have maybe 3 assignments in your Google Classroom stream. So again, I'm going to go live and show you what this looks like, but just the 4 steps you're going to follow is, again, access the builder through 1.0. You're going to find the problem set IDs for pre-existing problems and add them in. And step 3 and 4 are going to be exactly the same. Set your preferences, assign with ASSISTments 2.0. So let me go ahead and start over here. One thing you have to do before you have the ability to merge problem sets is to make a change in your preferences. And again, this is on the slide deck, so you'll be able to review this after we're done. So under preferences, I'm going to look down at the builder settings, and under the special beta research settings, we want to show inputting problem IDs, which is going to allow us to merge problem sets together. So I'm going to turn that option on, and I'll save. And now when I go back to the Builder tab, which this is making me wait a minute for, there we go. It's going to give us the option to copy and paste problem set IDs into a new problem set. So let's see if that has refreshed. So I just did a split screen here. I hope everyone can see this nicely. So I'm going to go right into my Builder tab. I've got 1.0 in one screen and 2.0 in the other screen. I'm going to click on Builder. I'm going to create a problem set. Let's see if that has uploaded and refreshed. There we go. And I'm going to select Input Problem IDs. So I would recommend doing this if you had a handful of questions from one problem set and a handful of questions from another problem set. So maybe I'll call this assignment. I'm going to edit the name because that's not a very clear assignment. Maybe this is going to be practice work for ratios, whatever you want to call it. So down here, I have the box that says problem IDs. So I'm going to find some problem IDs that I want to carry over and merge into one problem set. So I'm going to go in 2.0, and I'm going to navigate through the folders. I'm going to look in Illustrative Math Grade 6. This is a request we've had from some teachers. I'm going to look at ratios, and maybe I want to have a practice problem, or even a couple, from this problem set. So notice I'm going to copy and paste them over. Let's see, that's part A, B, C, D, and maybe this question as well. So just two from this problem set. And then I'll go back to the other tab, and I want something from student-facing tasks. So again, I'm going to click into the folder. I'm finding these PR IDs, which are the problem numbers, not the whole problem set. And maybe I want these two questions. So it's not really too cumbersome to use this method. If there's a few you want here, a few you want there. And at this point, I'll get to that in a minute, but some of you may be thinking, well, hold on, it says number 1, 2, and then 1, 2 again. We now have the ability to edit, and then I can take the numbers out if I want to get those numbers away. Oh, and they're not showing up right there. So just to reiterate, we went to Builder. We created a new problem set from the IDs, and that allowed us to copy and paste the ID numbers right into that box. And I just realized it didn't save because I went to a new screen. But it's going to look just like, oh, it did save. Okay, so let me go back to my Builder. Once you're done merging those questions, anything that you build is under problem sets that I've built. So again, I can view and check out what I just created. Here we go. So I put those two questions in, and then these two questions from the student-facing tasks. I can also, at this point, have a look at the at Test Drive. So if I want to see what it's going to look like from the student view, I can also do that. And we can play around with the different features, see if it looks like what you want it to look like. So let me go ahead and go back to the slides, and I'll walk you through this one more time, and then we'll stop for questions. So again, first thing you need to do is turn on the building feature, going up to Preferences in the upper right-hand corner, choosing the Builder settings, and turning on Inputting Problem IDs. That will allow you to find Input Problem IDs under the Builder tab. And from there, you're going to look at 2.0, find the problem, the PR IDs that you want, copy and paste them over to the problem ID box, separated by commas, and then you can add. If you are doing a problem set with maybe 30 questions, this may not be the option for you, but we'll talk about that scenario in just a few minutes. Again, you'll be able to set preferences, test mode, tutor mode. You can play around with each one of the questions. You can add more problems on, either built yourself. And just to note, you can also drag these into a different order if you choose to do that. All right, again, under problem sets that I've built. And to assign with Google Classroom, we're going to use the same method. We're going to take the problem set ID for the problem set we just created, copy that over to 2.0 under problem set ID, and then that's going to give us the option to view and then assign. So I will stop right there. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box, and Christina will bring those to my attention.
Yes. One person was asking whether they could grab problems from skill builders as well as problem sets.
Absolutely. Yep. So let me show you what that will look like. So if I'm building a new assignment, actually, let me do this. I'm just going to go to this one that I just created, and I'll edit this, and I'll add existing problems. So hopefully that's something you noticed. But now I can just go ahead and add right to that. So I'm going to find the skill builders by exploring more content. Again, I'm on the 2.0 page on the right-hand side of the screen. And for those of you who aren't that familiar with skill builders, again, these are organized by grade level and by Common Core strand, and they're tagged with Common Core code. So if you're looking for some specific skills practice, you can absolutely take this and drag it over. You can pull from different skill builders if maybe you're looking to do some review material. And one other note is that besides skill builders, we also have, oh, where'd it go? I think I went too far. Where are we here? Besides skill builders, we also have problem sets, which are also organized by grade level and Common Core. And this is a great place to find just skills practice. They're not set like skill builders where you can't assign part of it through 2.0. But this is also a place you can go just to pull some questions that you might like and merge them all into one practice set.
Great. Somebody else was asking about clarification on the difference between tutor mode and test mode.
Yes, absolutely. So tutor mode is going to set basically how your students are experiencing assessments right now. So something that's in tutor mode is going to give students feedback as they go, whether their answers are correct or incorrect. They have multiple opportunities to try their answer before they can't do it anymore. And actually, let me, I'll test this out at the end.
John, if you right now,
yeah.
Here's,
oh,
if you,
mode and then.
no, just change everything to tutor mode.
Yeah.
Now just go and change the second one to test mode, that little pull down. So you can do them individually or all of them at once with the little all of them button.
So let me go ahead.
Now test drive and it should show you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess you're the expert, Christina.
No. You're going so fast in your building. You're awesome.
Yeah. So let's see. So this answer, I asked for the answer. Students have the ability to ask for the answer. They also have multiple opportunities. So that's called tutor mode. Test mode. Oh, and this is part B of that same question. So let me just get through the rest of this. 3 to 4. Of course, we chose a problem that had like lots of different parts to it. So I'm just going to go through this so I can show you the difference. Jeez. Gosh.
Should have done that problem set you built yourself.
Yeah, this wasn't pre-planned, people. Most of this was. Okay.
There we go.
So, oh, it didn't do it.
You'll think you'll get feedback? Try it.
Oh, I clicked out. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry, people. This was an unplanned question.
That's good.
All right, so let's see. 3 to 4. Let's see if I remember these answers. Oh, nope. 9 to 4. Okay, so I'm sorry, everyone, for having to watch this again. 3 to 4. So again, we're in tutor mode. Students are going to get feedback if they don't press this button like I am here, just to go through it quickly. Apple, there we go. No, Apple wasn't correct. There we go. So this is test mode. So if I put in an answer of 5, answer is recorded. The teachers will see this on their assignment report, but the student does not have multiple attempts and they are not told if they're correct or not. All right, we finally got to that.
I did it.
All right.
That is it for now. So let's keep going.
All right, excellent. So I'm going to come back over here to my slides, and somehow I refreshed this, so I apologize again. There we go.
I think that was handy to show, though, that some of these problems do have multiple main parts, and so that just they go together.
All right. Right, and one thing to note there is that you cannot assign those individually. If there's a problem that has, for example, part A, B, and C, those all get assigned at once. But you do have the ability to make those edits in 1.0. All right, so let's see here. We finished with this part. So now we're going to talk about building your own problem sets. So if you want to, this is where if you find some existing content that you like, oh, no, sorry, I already did that part. Sorry, guys. Once I get off track. Now we're back on track, editing existing content. So if you want to edit an existing problem, whether it's something you built or something that's already built in our system, you're going to find that problem and press edit. You're going to make any changes or additions, again, set preferences, and then assign to assessments. So let's see what I mean by this. I'm going to go back to my Builder tab. Let's say I gave this Wednesday homework and I want to make some edits to this. Now there's a couple different types of edits that we could make at this point. Like I showed you, we may want to write some new problems. So maybe I'm going to add another question on top of this. And maybe that question will be, let's say I'll mark it number 5. What is your favorite color? And maybe I want to set that as ungraded open response, which means the student has an answer box to add into. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So that will add question number 5 to the end of my problem set. But we can also make changes to the individual problem. So for number 3, this was the question where I asked to find the area of the rectangle. Maybe I want to add the formula in because I notice there's some students who aren't using their reference sheet that they should. So I might write A equals L times W. And maybe I'll even highlight that just to make sure they see it. And some students will actually note that, some won't, but I'm going to make it nice and big so that they can't miss it the first time. I want to make sure that any changes that I make, I save problem body. They do not save automatically. Some other changes we can make. I know that when I was teaching 8th grade, there was a lot of students who were along the right track, but maybe they didn't round their answer correctly. So if I give them instructions to not round, but I can see that some of them are rounding or I predict that as a mistake, maybe I want to add another answer that's rounded to the 10th place. Because maybe my objective for this question is that they know how to use the formula and we can have that discussion about rounding afterwards. Another option here is you can add a part B to this question. Now there's nothing on this screen that says part B, but we call the linked parts of a question main problems. So main problem 1 is what we see right here. So if I click main problem 2, that's basically going to give me a part B to this question. So maybe my part B is, what is the perimeter? So the student's already seeing the question in part A, so I don't need to put that question in again, and I'll show you what this looks like. I'm going to save the problem body. I do want this to be a numerical answer, so I'm going to add a new answer here, which is 38. So I'm going to save that. I also want to add that language again. Do not include units in your answer, because if we do select the number answer type, if students add any kind of letters or variables, they'll get a short error message. So let me show you what that looks like. I can test drive the problem here.
I just want to chime in.
Yeah.
Don't forget to test drive your item.
Yeah.
Some people forget to put the answer in, you forget to do things, and then test driving is like a key.
Yeah. So the multiple mains are going to show up like this. So this was part A, my original question, and anything I want to add as a part B is going to show up right underneath. So they still have access to that picture. And now this is just a follow-up to that question. So just to note again, if they do get it incorrect on the first try, they get the messaging that it's incorrect because this is in tutor mode. And if they get it right on the second try, they get that feedback that they're correct. All right, so that concludes this part right here, which is just finding the problem set you want to edit. I just want to note that if you've already assigned the problem set and you're making edits after it's been assigned to students, you're going to get the message, do you want to make changes to this problem? Because if you make changes, the students will be forced to refresh their screen to see the changes that you've made. And sometimes, depending on the change you make, it may restart the assignment for the students. So just be wary about that. And again, you see the edit button. Make any changes, make sure to save the problem body. New main problem is where you're going to add a part B or a part C. And again, you can change the answer or add additional answers that you might find acceptable. All right, we'll stop there. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you go back, and there's two different ways of creating hints. The first one, if you go to your problem set and then add a new problem,
yeah,
and using that little, the interface where you can add a hint right away, and then also showing about the hints in the other editor.
Sure, yeah, and I didn't put hints in just because we're short on time, but I have linked some information about adding hints in at the end, but I will note that, that if you write new problems, you'll see the question box or the question tab, and then additionally the hint tab. So hints are things that you can write that the student can access before they are able to see the answer. So you might see, let's see, if your question is, what is the color of the sun? And I might make this a multiple choice. It is yellow, which I'm going to call it yellow. It's black, which it's not. And it's rainbow. So you might differ from my answer here, but I like to say that it's yellow. And my hint might be, look up at the sun. So
okay, Don, that's probably a bad hint, but I'll go with it. Can you show while you're right here, it doesn't make sense with your sun analogy, but somebody else asked about the algebra editor. Might as well just show it while you're here because we are going to run out of time.
Yep. So anytime you put in a question or a hint, you can access the math editor. So if you do have some kind of math type hint or even question to put in, you can do that right here, right in the math editor, and it's actually going to present this as an image rather than just a type. So you can use this in the question box, you can use this in the hint box, you cannot use it in the answer box. So if you have square roots as your answers, things like that, you can't put that in here. And again, any changes that you make, you want to make sure that you save. They do not automatically save. And just so you can see what that hint looks like from the student view, I'm going to go ahead and test drive it. So the student will see the question. Instead of show answer, they're going to see show hint, and it will give them the hint. And since this is multiple choice, they're not going to see that show answer button, but after they see the hint, they'll then see the show answer button if they still can't get it. And there we go, it's yellow. All right, anything else for right now? Because there is one section I would love to get to that I think is going to answer some questions that were being posed through social media and things like that.
You go right ahead.
All right. So the last part is editing an existing problem set. So this would be a situation where maybe you have a problem set in Engage New York that has 20 questions in it, and you want to add a few exit tickets in. So the steps here are going to be access the builder, find the problem set, and you're going to make a copy. We can't edit Engage New York's content because that would edit it for everyone who's using the ASSISTments platform. So you're allowed to make a copy, and then you have free range to make whatever edits you want. You can make whatever changes or additions and then assign to Google Classroom. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to go to my split screen again, and I'm going to look up here where it says Access Problem Sets and Problems, Enter ID. So I'm going to find something that I want to make some edits and changes to. I'm in Illustrative Math Grade 7, and again, I'm just going to navigate through the folders. Practice Problems, Lesson 2. So if I was just pulling a couple questions here, you could just add those problem IDs in like I showed you earlier. But if you do want all the questions in this problem set, I'm going to take the problem set ID, which starts with PS. I'm going to put it in the Enter ID box and make a new copy. If I tried to edit this right now, it's going to give me a message that you're not allowed to. So when I make a copy, I get a new unique ID to whatever you're creating right now. Notice it says copy of, and of course we can edit that name. So if I want to call this Miss Peterson's 7.2 blah, 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 I can rename it like that so it's not as generic with the copy of. And now I can delete questions. So if I don't want that question in, I can also edit. So some of these questions have multiple main parts where they ask for the answer and then they ask you to show your work and they have multiple parts. So maybe you're someone who just likes the first part of this question and you really don't want the students to explain it. So you can click on the multiple main and delete that main problem. So part B of that question doesn't exist now. You could do the same thing. Oh, you can do the same thing for part 4. So maybe I don't want this question right here, so I can now delete that after I've made the copy. And then of course you can also go back to the problem set. So again, I'm going to go back to my builder. That's my home base. And now if I edit, I could add in some new problems that I write, or I could add existing problems. I know that just about every school in the country, I know here in Massachusetts, they've canceled our state testing, but another great question bank that you might want to use is our release state test questions. So you might want to go into our 7th grade MCAS, that's our state testing in Massachusetts, and maybe you really like this question now, and you want to add that in. Or maybe you also want to go in and find the, find the student task statements for the illustrative content that I just assigned. Again, you're just going to navigate through, find whatever you want to add in, and now you can add in the problem sets, or excuse me, the problem IDs, and that's just going to add it right over. As a last piece, because I am going to take more questions, once you've made any changes, this is going to be the same regardless of how you make your edits or creations. To assign through Google Classroom, you're going to take that problem set ID, head over to your your ASSISTments account, make sure you're logged in, and when you are, you'll see the problem set box, view. Of course, it does that again. It won't happen the second time, I promise. Guess I can't make that promise yet. And that should work. It worked before you saw it. So
it must not be logged in. There's some weird.
Yeah, something's wrong here. Let's see. I think if I refresh. But once you do that, you'll be able to see that problem set. Here we go. And then you can just push right out to Google Classroom. All right, so I will stop there. I want to remind everyone that the slide deck that I'm sharing and the video will be shared with you, so you can review that afterwards. I've got a couple last tips, and then we'll take some questions and people can hang around for another minute. I definitely encourage you to add personalized language if you're building your own problem sets. When I would build, I would make comments like, welcome to Ms. Peterson's assignment. I hope you're excited. Let's get started with number 1. Kind of adds that personal touch when your students are getting their homework in a remote environment. Definitely include videos or images as necessary. I showed you how easy it was to embed a video in the question bank. Include language that lets students know how to put their answers in. And I've included a link to our formatting guides, which show you how to be creative about if you need students to enter a coordinate pair, or if you need students to upload a picture. We have the language that we use with when we're building our assignments, so you can use that as well. Again, I added the instructions on how to put hints in. So if you want to learn more about that, that's kind of a step 2 building feature, but you can read more. And then just our ASSISTments 1.0 help page. Please check out our Distance Learning Help Center. There's a lot of resources just about our ASSISTments tool there. Definitely check out our online resources on the website. when you signed up, there was a note, do you want to learn about becoming an assessment certified teacher? And just like you can become a Google certified teacher, you can become assessment certified by working your way through some modules. So I included the link there as well, so you can check that out on your own if you're interested. And we'd love to see you join our Facebook page, so you can kind of bounce building questions or just implementation questions off other teachers in the group. So I will pause here. We are at 4 o'clock, but if you have any questions, I would welcome those.
Some people had to go off to meetings.
Yeah.
Oh, someone asked, can you, oh no, that's what I said. Someone was asking if they could, if they forgot how to make a copy, would editing still, you know, would it prompt them to edit? And just to be clear, you can't edit anything of ours. We will make a copy or prompt you about making a copy if necessary.
Yeah, and I can just show you what that looks like. If I go into illustrative and I grab this problem set ID, just copy that. If I try to edit that from my personal account, I get the message, I don't have permission. So it doesn't prompt you to make a copy, but that will prompt you, now that you know, to go over here and make a new copy, and then you can edit it down below.
Right. And then maybe you covered this, but when you do click on edit on something, if the problem, the copy you make,
yeah,
will only copy the problem set. The individual problems will be ours still?
Nope.
But it,
so, yep. So if you, I just made a copy of this problem set on the right. I want you to note, let's see here. I can now edit. Oh, no, it shouldn't it? No,
oh, you made a copy. That's a new PR ID.
Yep. So it creates a new problem set ID once I click edit. And now if I go back, you'll note that this problem set,
you have to refresh now
until I save it. Yeah. So if I refresh, so I have the capability to edit anything that's in this new problem set. Yep. So now it's called U5, and this one right here is identical, but once I try to edit it, it will generate a new problem ID.
Yeah.
There we go. Anything
So,
else we can answer?
There's nothing else in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, how do you save when you're done?
How do you save when you're done? At the bottom of the screen, you're going to save the problem body if you make any changes to the problem. The answers that you create, you'll see there's a save button right here. And the tutor, if you choose any tutoring strategies, again, that's kind of a step 2. Those will have a save button as well. So you definitely want to make sure you're hitting save problem body anytime you make a change, otherwise it will revert back to the original problem.
And then how do you find the content that you, if you built it, how do you find things again?
Anything that you built is going to be under the Builder tab, problem sets that I've built. So this is my personal account with everything that I've built. There's a lot in there, but I just made a copy of this, so it exists right here. I created Miss Peterson's copy, so that's right here. Anything that you create will exist right in this bank.
All right, and no one's asking this, but someone's going to ask it later. How do you delete something?
How do you delete? You cannot delete. Once something is created, it cannot be deleted. But what you can do is create a subfolder called trash. And then if you decide you don't want this, or you made some edits that you don't like, you can just move that into the trash folder.
Yeah, and I always like to say my husband built this and he doesn't like to throw anything away, so he didn't add that in.
This is for hoarders. But you can also, at this point, if you're creating assignments for a 6th grade class and a 7th grade class, definitely make use of these create subfolders, and you can kind of organize all the content that you're creating.
Awesome.
All right.
I think that's good.
Once again, I will be sharing the slide deck and this video, so you can share it with colleagues, so you can watch it again, so you can look through the slides. Please reach out to contact@assistments.org if you have any questions at all about building, or you're getting errors or anything like that, and we'd be happy to help you out. All right. And I'm going to stop.